Welcome and thank you for joining us here in the Golden Thread Gallery in the project space with Paul Moore. Paul, would you be able to introduce yourself and a little bit about the history of your work?
I'm Paul. I'm an artist based in Belfast. I work in video photography, more recently so performance and sound.
So we started Any Towards this exhibition probably about a year and a half ago, and it dovetailed with you being awarded the Arts Council Northern Ireland's Artist Career Enhancement Award. So we've, I think, worked with the Arts Council and artists who've got that award since its inception. I remember that it was set up really to look at that step change in an artist's career. So, you know, an artist was doing well at a level, they'd proved themselves, their practice was interesting, but there was something that they just needed to do to take them to that next step. And what was that next step you were looking to achieve?
Yeah, so yes, I sort of really felt the need to take the next step into sort of professionalising my practice and consolidating what I'd done before. Where I've been making work through process and for various exhibitions and events, but I felt that I really needed to gather myself and focus in on my practice and what I was doing, and I felt the time with the ACES award would give me, and working with yourselves in the Golden Thread would help me do that and simply bring my practice to the next level.
No, it was really interesting when you came to us, you know, when we started this kind of journey really, but you've been really active and you've taken part in a number of exhibitions and many of those had kind of had an output through a series of more ephemeral kind of processes. So you were, and there was, I suppose, a strong element of the documentation, the recording of these processes of engagement.
Yeah, I've been based out in East Belfast for a while, and I've been going through a sort of gentrification process, which I got really interested in. There was the C.S. Lewis Square, which was being built, and I'd started doing work around sort of identity and playing with this idea of a wardrobe and places leading to somewhere new, and I got asked to put some work into the Tether Festival at one point. So I'd started working with Instagram and getting people to photograph their wardrobes and putting it online, and it was kind of like a sort of like public intervention. So this kind of led me to working with actual wardrobes, where starting this process of doing performances up and down the Newton Arch Road, dragging wardrobes. So I've been doing these quite sort of physically demanding and visceral pushing and dragging up about a mile long a stretch of this road.
So I was always really interested by how you integrated really the physical side of your life, you know, the physical activity into your work. You know, there was always this sort of endurance element that was running through a lot of the activity, and it seemed really important to you.
Yeah, well, I felt the sort of the endurance or the struggle was the kind of the point with that. It was the load that maybe, you know, you're bearing as a person within this community, or I suppose the wardrobe came to symbolise kind of, you know, past things that weren't necessarily your own, but you were dragging around, and there was this kind of sort of human, you know, this struggle to bear that weight or whatever.
So Paul, in the exhibition we have here, there are two main elements. There's the video with the kind of soundtrack, and that's quite particular, but tell me more about how you made this photograph first, please.
Yeah, so the light box is an image of the buoy up in Helens Bay Beach. So we've got two buoys which show, I think, safe mooring. They're about 100 metres apart. So I've been going up there swimming.
Through the winter?
Through the winter.
Okay.
For a while, I've been swimming. I started swimming for a while, and I sort of got the courage up to get up into the sea and start swimming. You know, so I've been out doing this, and this image, I'd wanted to get a particular image of this buoy, and I've been going up quite a lot over the winter with my big SLR camera and a lens, trying to photograph it from the beach or get into the water, and things just weren't looking right. It looked too pretty, or the light changes so much. And then it was just one day I was up. I think it was the evening. It was getting towards the evening, and it was a lovely sort of cloudy night, and I ended up just sticking my phone into my tow float, swimming out to the buoy, and managing to sort of like get it out of the tow float and keep it from getting wet, and got the photograph of the buoy out in the water. The tide had been in, so it was deep. It was deep enough. So it was funny. I think it was interesting that took the photo. It sort of shows kind of the struggle or the environment, rather than being able just to take it with a long lens from a safe place, going, there's that. This is quite upfront and confrontational to this boy, and it worked. It's like looked so much better than any of the photographs.
Okay, but this going out and swimming then, and through the winter, are you seeing many people down there doing that?
Yeah, I think the sea swimming became really popular over lockdown. I think there's something really quite interesting about people returning to the sea in times of need and times, of stress. And again, I was trying to sort of represent this sort of this inner struggle as well. So as I was filming with the GoPro. We had quite a pleasant winter in many ways, and over the summer things were, the weather was quite nice. But the particular day I shot the video, I sort of got up, I'd seen it was really like overcast and cloudy, and it was like, that's a great day to go and take this video. So got all my stuff together, got up to the beach, and all ready to go, all psyched up. I was like, right, I'm going to go in here. It's middle of November. Got up to the beach, walked around the corner, and the police were there, all pushing everybody off the beach. I was like,
okay,
all right, what can I do? So I went back and I sat with my mum in the car for 20 minutes until the police left, and just went back in, got in the sea, and just swam for about 40 minutes, running the boys in the place on my own. It was lovely. So I was able to get the footage from that. But
the video then, I suppose, it puts you in your place. No, it puts the viewer in the place of you in terms of that physical endurance, but also what's going on in your head when you're free to think, because you're physically just, struggling, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess with the endurance aspect, with coming to, like, I'd started the running. I got interested in trail running and ultra marathons, and it was these long runs, and it became really quite meditative for us. And I guess I'd been running up the coast there quite a lot, so I'd always been sort of looking at the sea and seeing the sea, and I started swimming, I guess, as a point of sort of cross training or relaxation, but I had this idea in my head that I was, you know, I was going to do one of these like triathlons or something. I was going to swim like 2 miles, you know, and then I was going to be able to cycle and then run, you know, and I realised that I couldn't get my head below the water, and I was afraid of not being able to breathe or something. And so so a friend, I finally started getting my head under the water and being able to swim. And I went and bought myself new goggles, and I got into the water and I was able to see my hands and what was about me, and I hadn't realised how little, you know, I was like just so kind of still maybe quite naive to what I was doing. And at this time I'd been playing with the VR headset, and I sort of discovered that you could have these, you didn't need to use the controllers, you could just use your hands. It had these cameras on it, and it kind of had this strange kind of similarities between like when I was swimming, I was looking out through these visors, these goggles, and my hand was coming in, and I could see this hand, and then I could see this hand, and like I didn't have a body. I was just in this kind of environment, and there was these 2 hands, and it was like the same in the VR set. Like when I looked around, I didn't see my legs, or I'd be sitting on a chair. I was totally supported, and I was just experienced this world through mental cognition, you know.
I think that's really interesting when you go back to the wardrobe and that sense of entering into another space or someone else's space, or going into an imagined world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's because you're going into something else, and you want to feel things or touch, you know. It's the I think with the wardrobe is having to hold this and grab it and pull it and, like, you know, feel this object which was there to sort of protect your clothes or your Sunday best, so your work uniforms, things that you would put on when you went into another certain environment.
How did you come to the title for the exhibition?
So Fionnghlas, which is an Irish word, or an old Irish word, which is probably sort of like a compound word. Fionn coming, maybe meaning white, or and glass being green, or shades of grey, in a sense. So it's I picked up on the word firstly through a podcast I've been listening to. I mean, they're talking about this word Fionnghlas, which was the colour of the sea when lightning hit it, or the colour of the sea during a storm. And it was just this idea of that I had this really lovely descriptive word for what the sea looked like in a storm, or when this lightning just went, you know, it was just, you know, so it was technically, it really would mean light green, but it had been a word which I just really liked for a long time. So I'm making this work, just every time I go to the sea, I think about the colours of the sea and all these different colours of greens and blues and greys, and just thinking that word just sums up all these different emotions and experiences. And then I was thinking, then with me swimming through it, it's like I'm this kind of like storm, you know, plowing through these things, you know. So there's this, I guess the thing with the swimming is one of the things with swimming was that it was one of the only places, you know, times where you could really shut off and you just had to think about what you were doing. You know, you couldn't, you know, drifting off. Sometimes, like when you're running, it'd be quite meditative, but you think about other things and you can drift off and whatever. Whereas swimming, you have to be concentrated all the time. You know, it's 1, 2, 3, you can breathe, 1, 2, 3, breathe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe. You know, there's this nice sort of repetitive motion and concentration and focus that you're just doing, and it's really quite calming and just de-stressing. So, as again, I was thinking about sort of the thing in terms of anxiety and whatever else. There's sort of coloured shots of people with anxieties talking about different colours of blues or greens, and I guess that work came to represent something like that as well. So it was just, it's just something that came to represent all of that stuff to me, and it's a lovely word.
We're really hoping that we're going to get to actually open this exhibition, pending an easing in the restrictions that are currently on, because the show is going to last or run up until the end of April. But you also have another exhibition on, or work in an exhibition in Dublin.
Yes, in the lab gallery.
Okay, so you've been keeping busy through the whole of this.
Yeah, it's been a really busy time, and you've been glad of it. You know, the work's really helped me through the last year, and the two works really went on side by side, and they came from the same place. So the work in the lab is me walking around an old sports hall up in the Vault Artist Studios with a VR headset on, banging on the walls and climbing over furniture and different things while experiencing a virtual room online.
So this is it. You've come to the end of this programme that you're supported by the Arts Council for the ACES Award to do. You have this show. You've got the show on now in Dublin as well at the lab. What's next for you, Paul?
I think I would like to. I think the next logical steps to make more video works, experiment more with VR digital content, and see what I can do with that. Because it's evolving so rapidly at the moment. But I think that's the key word, isn't it? Content. I think that's what we're worried about, making VR content rather than sort of some comment on the experience of technology, or the experience about how technology has on the body and how we experience the world through technology or through, through our bodies. I think that's an interesting point going forward. Sort of things like sort of transhumanism and things like that there, especially now that we've all got so used to sort of spending time online and Zoom conversations, and we don't have. It's going to be interesting seeing the world going back to face-to-face conversations.
Well, you developed your own website during this as well, given that kind of appetite for the online. And we're going to be sharing this and documentation of the show online simultaneously with hopefully a reopening, and people can physically come and see the exhibition before the end of April. Paul, well, really thank you for sharing that insight into your practice. I know that both Mary and I have really enjoyed this process of engaging with you throughout the last 18 months. I know that you and Mary have had quite in-depth conversations around.
Yeah, Mary's been great. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing an insight into your work.
Thank you very much.